AFR On Demand is brought to you by Breck Golf. Try Beaver Creek today, just 20 minutes from downtown Baton Rouge in the Zachary area. They've got a PGA Tour driving range, a short game practice area, 30 to 40-yard practice shots. It's a great place to chip and putt and practice if you don't have time for a full round. Book your tee time today, golf.breck.org, golf.breck.org.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Raising Cane studio.
Let's rock!
Hour 2, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It is AFR. We are here at Marucci Hitter's House on Siegen and thrilled to have you aboard with us. Ross Jackson, LouisianaSports.net, is going to join us here momentarily. And the reason he's not joining us right now in the time we had him scheduled is because during the top of the hour, Adam Schefter broke the news that Chris Olave has a new deal with the Saints. We'll get to that here in just a quick second. But so Ross Jackson will join us as soon as he's done, maybe in about 10 minutes or so. We'll get Ross to react to the Olave news, and we'll go through the day 2 of Saints training camp report. Bottom of this hour, Matt Jones will be with us. Matt Jones, if you're an SEC fan, you probably know who Matt Jones is, not the former Arkansas quarterback, but Matt Jones from Kentucky Sports Radio. He's like the preeminent Kentucky media member. Kentucky Sports Radio is a huge statewide deal. But Matt is now, he's been for years, he's done a weekend show with Myron Metcalf on ESPN Radio called Sunday Morning. Well, Matt and Myron are now moving to the weekday lineup as part of ESPN Radio's new lineup. So, of course, the Golics will be on the new weekday lineup, but so will Matt and Myron weekdays from 2 to 4 Central. So we obviously, it'll be Hunt Palmer and me here during that time. But anyway, we're going to have a chance to visit with Matt Jones. I visited with Matt Jones earlier today, so we're going to play that interview for you coming up in a little bit. Great conversation, not only about them moving to that slot, but also, LSU plays in Lexington this year. So we did talk some LSU, Kentucky, and they also cover the Cincinnati Bengals, so I asked about Joe Burrow as well. So that's coming up here at the bottom of this hour. Okay. We have breaking news from Adam Schefter. The New Orleans Saints and Chris Olave have agreed to a contract extension. And I'm in no way surprised because it is absolutely what I've said it was going to be all along. But I am very disappointed because I was right. It's exactly what I said it was going to be all along. The Saints have signed Chris Olave to a 4-year extension worth up to $132 million with $90 million of it guaranteed. Chris Olave is represented by the Rosenhauses. When you look at that average annual value, that's about $33 million per year, which means only Jackson Smith-Njigba, Jamar Chase, Drake London, Justin Jefferson, and CeeDee Lamb will make more money on an average annual basis than Chris Olave. The Saints just paid Chris Olave effectively like the 6th highest paid receiver in the NFL. To me, that is not smart. And as we've talked about Olave all offseason and this contract, I wish we had this clip pulled. I'm going to have to grab it another time. But we've talked about it all throughout the offseason. And 2 things can be true at the same time. This is the part that so often when we have this conversation, people miss because they think I'm attacking Chris Olave or saying he's not a good player. None of that is true. I am not attacking Chris Olave. I think he's been a model teammate. I think the concussions it was scary 2 years ago, to be perfectly honest with you, but he had a fully healthy season last year and had a career year, and good for him. when you're in a contract year and you have a career year, you're generally going to cash in. Awesome. Fire it up for him. I look at it through the prism, however, of how good is this player relative to the position in the NFL, and how do you pay them accordingly? And Chris Olave, as I've said over and over, and we have backed it up with all the data and all the metrics, Chris Olave is a bottom-tier starter in the NFL, maybe a mid-tier number one, but he would be like the best number two in the NFL. The New Orleans Saints just used a top 10 pick on a wide receiver. If they felt Chris Olave was the game breaker, you don't go use a top 10 pick on a receiver. They drafted 3 receivers this year. And I understand that other contracts get done and that continuously resets the market. The Falcons paying Drake London $141 million, $35 million per year, resets the market to an unreasonable number because Olave has been a more productive player than Drake London, statistically, throughout their time in the NFL. So I'm certain that's what the Rosenhauses are saying. I just don't like it. I think the Saints overspent on a guy that is probably a low teens or high 20s receiver in the NFL. Probably somewhere in that range. Pro Football Focus put out their receiver rankings. They had Olave 12th. Okay, even if Olave's 12th in the NFL, you're talking about right around, you're talking about like T. Higgins, Jalen Waddle range, $28 million. I still think that's too much. I think Chris Olave, as we've said many times, should be in the $20 million range. I think Chris Olave should be in that Jerry Jeudy, Chris Godwin, Devontae Adams, Calvin Ridley, like that Christian Watson, that $22 million range. I think the Saints are overpaying by about $10 million a year. Now, it ain't my money, but it is my favorite team, and they have been notoriously awful with the salary cap, and I think they did just overpay. I think they just paid a lower tier number one or elite level number two like an elite level number one. I mean, he, on an average annual basis, the only receivers in the NFL that will be making more per year than Chris Olave are Jackson Smith and Jigba, Jamar Chase, Drake London, Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb. That's it. Chris Olave will be making more than DK Metcalf, Garrett Wilson, Terry McLaurin, A.J. Brown, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Brandon Ayuk, T. Higgins. I mean, go down the list. And if I ask you the question, if I gave you DK Metcalf or Chris Olave, who would you take? You know the answer. If I said, hey, Garrett Wilson or Chris Olave, you know the answer. That's the problem I have. And it's illustrated even further by the fact that they used the 9th pick on a receiver. I mean, you drafted franchise left tackles each of the last 2 years. You weren't going in free agency to spend on a left tackle. You paid Chase Young like a number one edge rusher. You didn't go into the draft to pick a number one edge rusher. So, again, I'm not surprised. This is what we said was going to happen all offseason. They were going to pay him like a top 5 receiver in the NFL. The market had been set. They're validating their decision to draft him and keep him and all this sort of stuff. And he's a good, productive player. He also, this past season, Chris Olave was a volume receiver. He had a career year, but he was also playing in a receiver room that was featuring Samori Toure and Devon Vele until he got hurt, and Ronnie Bell. Throw it to 12. You used a first-round pick on him. He's the only guy you got. Force the ball to 12. Well, this year, I don't think it's going to be a bold prediction, Chris Olave's production is going to drop because you've got Jordyn Tyson, and you've got Devon Vele coming off of injury, and you got Jalen Polk there as well, and you drafted Barry and Brown, and you drafted Bryce Lance, And you drafted Oscar Delp, and you brought in Noah Fant, and you've got Juwan Johnson, like all of us, and you've got Travis Etienne, and Alvin Kamara's back. All of a sudden, you got toys everywhere. So you don't have to keep forcing the ball to 12. I like Chris Olave. Again, like this is not a knock on Chris Olave. I think Chris Olave deserves to be paid. I think Chris Olave is a really good player. I think Chris Olave has been a great teammate and has been good in the culture in New Orleans and wants to be in New Orleans. And I'm not even worried about the concussions like a season ago because he made it through a full season and stayed healthy, which is awesome and we all want to see. I just think they overpaid. Two things can be true at the same time. You can think Chris Olave is great and you can want him in New Orleans, but you also have to decide, like, what is he worth? It's no different than Alontae Taylor or Paulson Adebo or any of the free agents the Saints have watched walk, Trey Hendrickson, because they have to decide who they're going to pay. And in my opinion, they overpaid for Chris Olave. Hope I'm wrong. I hope he goes out and has 4 all-pro receivers and becomes the best receiver in the NFL. But I think they just overpaid for a guy that is probably an elite level number 2. A good number 1, an elite level number 2. I think they just overpaid for him. Tom will tell if I'm right or wrong. And I expect all of you to disagree with me, by the way. I don't expect anybody to agree with that sentiment. But all any of you are going to hear, though, is that I think they overpaid Chris Olave, so you're going to think that I said Chris Olave is bad. I've never said that. He's a fantastic football player, an elite football player. He's just not a top 5 receiver in the NFL. And I don't think I'm going out on a limb in saying that. All right, it's after further review. We're here at Marucci Hitter's House. We're glad you're aboard with us. We're brought to you by South Point Volkswagen, southpointvw.com. As a matter of fact, they're right down the road. We're here at Marucci Hitter's House. Segan, go up to Airline, bang a right, a couple miles down on the right before you get to Highland. You'll see South Point Volkswagen. Tomorrow's the last day of the month, which means it's the last day of the 4th of July savings event. I know 4th of July was, 4 weeks ago, or three and a half weeks ago. But the 4th of July savings go all throughout the month. Like you can get a new Atlas for 0.9% APR for 60 months. It's 5 years. Basically free money for 5 years on an Atlas. Go check them out at South Point Volkswagen. Airline just north of Highland or southpointvw.com. South Point Volkswagen, what's your direction? All right, y'all, it is after further review, and we are thrilled to have you hanging out with us here at Marucci Hitter's House. Come on by. We're right here on Segan Lane. They got the footwear deal going on right now. $50 footwear, cleats, turfs, cross trainers. Come hang out. See us here at Marucci Hitter's House on Segan. Take advantage of these great deals. Okay, we'll knock out a quick break. Okay, Ross is good to go. We'll knock out a break. Come back. Ross Jackson will react to the Olave contract, and he'll give us a Saints practice report here, as was his day 2 out there on Airline Drive at the Saints facility. We'll do it next. It's AFR.
AFR.
As I peer across the street and a little to the right, I see Clegg's Nursery, another one of our great partners here on AFR. Clegg's has been a part of our AFR family for years, and I love telling you about Clegg's Nursery. Any of the 4 locations in the greater Baton Rouge area, Segan or Airline, like literally across the street. Well, that's a furniture store, but like a little to the right. That's Clegg's Nursery. LA 16 in Denham, Mid-City on Donmore, Garden Center on Greenwell Springs. Buy local, shop local. Always encourage you, bypass the big box stores and support great local businesses that have been in our community for decades, and that's Clegg's Nursery. Miss Teresa over there is awesome. Butch and Chris and all the team at Clegg's. They've been so great to me and my family over the years, and we love to go shop at Clegg's Nursery because they got tons of flowers and plants and trees and shrubs. Maybe you want privacy shrubs or beautiful flowers to accent your flower bed or your patio pots. Maybe you need soil or mulch, bag or bulk, outdoor decor. They got it all at Clegg's Nursery. So buy local, shop local, and tell them Matt sent you in to Clegg's Nursery. Better coverage for less money. That's Insurance Network of Louisiana. Check them online at lainsurance.net, lainsurance.net for Insurance Network of Louisiana. It's really easy. It doesn't matter if it's your home, if it's your auto, if it's your business. We all have to have insurance, and unfortunately, a lot of us are overpaying and underinsured. We don't know it. We just have an auto draft set, and we just keep paying year after year after year because we have to have insurance. Well, what if you could fix that? And what if someone could shop for free to find you better coverage for less money? Got great news. They can. It's Insurance Network of Louisiana. See, they're partnered with dozens of the top-rated insurers in the world, and they go shop independently for free to find you better coverage for less money. Like your agent at your current place may be an awesome person, but they can only get you rates from their company. At Insurance Network of Louisiana, they shop independently for free to get you better coverage for less money. 293-0450, 293-0450, 293-0450, or lainsurance.net.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
We continue from Marucci Hitter's house. The news, if you missed it, just breaking. Chris Olave and the New Orleans Saints, according to Adam Schefter, have agreed to a 4-year contract extension, $90 million in guaranteed money, over $130 million. $132 is the max value of the deal. Ross Jackson, sometimes timing in life, better to be lucky than good, had Ross scheduled to join us right as this news breaks. So we have the opportunity to let Ross react to it. Okay, the deal is reportedly done. Your reaction?
Yeah, massive for New Orleans. And this is exactly what it is that they wanted to get done. Both sides were motivated to get a contract finished. I think that the hold-in for the first 2 days of practice was probably something that maybe started to cast a little bit of a gray cloud over the negotiations. But the truth of the matter is that all of that was very clearly communicated when it came to both sides of this thing, and that all together they just wanted to get this deal done. It lands right around where we thought it would be, really closer to the floor than the ceiling. Matt, we kind of looked at Garrett Wilson's $130 million deal as kind of the floor for this thing. And so he just barely clears that at 132 is the maximum value of it. And so this feels like a good deal for both sides. Both sides get the commitment that they were looking for. It was expected to be a really, really bright season for Chris Olave here in New Orleans.
So on an average annual value, he's the 6th highest paid receiver in the NFL. I know, Ross, I am on an island, okay? I do not believe he is worth that. He's a phenomenal player. I'm glad he got his contract and deserves to be paid. I think they overpaid. Since I'm the only one on the island and everyone else listening and watching right now will agree with you, convince me why they did not overpay for Chris Olave.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'll say this. I think we all know that you're not the easiest person to convince, so you're giving me a pretty big task here.
Yes, but I can't. It can be done.
But it can be done. So here's what I would say. Does it matter to you that Chris Olave was one of the 6 most targeted receivers in the NFL last year?
It does, because there were no other good receivers on the Saints roster, so they forced the ball to him because he was the only one.
Great. And would you say the same thing about a Puka Nacua and an Amon-Ra St. Brown and a Jamar Chase and a Justin Jefferson?
No, because they've had better number 2s and 3s on their rosters than New Orleans did a year ago.
Right. So when everything was on Chris Olave's shoulders to produce in the passing game, he produced like one of the most elite wide receivers in the NFL, amongst those that also managed to be able to do that in situations where they're sharing some of those reps. And sharing some of those reps is a big thing. That's what Chris Olave is going to be doing here in 2026, I think, with Jordyn Tyson kind of added to that mix. But I do think that when you look at what it is that Chris Olave did, who also finished with a second-team All-Pro season, who also became only the second wide receiver in New Orleans Saints franchise history to even meet the century mark in terms of pass catchers that's across any position group across the entire history of this franchise, I think that all of that kind of comes together to kind of explain a little bit of why it is that the Saints feel so strongly that this is the guy that is the number one in their system. He also averaged over 110 receiving yards over the course of the last 2 games of the season that he played, in a season where there was no other wide receiver option outside of him. So, yes, he was force-fed in those situations, but he was being relied upon to be the top wide receiver in the room. He cashed in on that. He made good on that. He arrived on that, and that's one of the reasons why you pay him.
If they're so convinced, why did they use the 9th overall pick on another receiver?
I think that there's an opportunity there to be able to kind of replicate what it is that what the Philadelphia Eagles had for Kellen Moore with A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith, 2 guys that were also both early draft picks, but I don't think one necessarily cancels out the value of either. They wanted to be in an offense where they had 2 big-time options. They now have 2 big-time options, one of which getting paid 4 years after or 4 years ahead, 4 years after coming into the league. And now they're on a perfect timeline to be able to have this contract extension done, have it in place while Jordyn Tyson's on his rookie deal. And then by the time that Jordyn Tyson's new rookie deal runs up and they get into a conversation about an extension there, they'll be clear of the books here. It's just smart spending.
I think you have one really good option that you're paying like a great option, and one potentially great option if he lives up to it. But time will tell. I hope I'm wrong, but I think they overpaid for Chris Olave. We'll agree. I will disagree. We'll agree to disagree. But I know I'm the only person at least I'm the only person with a platform willing to scream this into the ether, because I think there's probably there are probably a lot of other people that agree, and they're waiting with bated breath to see how it plays. Okay, the Saints are back on the practice field today for day 2. Obviously, the massive story is Brian Breeze's injury. No pads yet, Ross. Can you tell at all yet what their plan is to do to replace Breeze?
Yeah, I think that their plan is to continue to roll with the other guy that has experience playing that sort of 3-4 defensive end position. It's a little bit of a misnomer in this particular system to refer to Brian Breeze as a defensive tackle now, even though that's what he was drafted as, just because of what it is that these tackles or interior defensive linemen are now asked to do. And so the other guy on the roster that has done this already and kind of held this role is Nathan Shepard. And this is a guy that's a veteran player. He played that role well last year, had a pretty big breakout game against his former team, actually, the New York Jets. And so I think that they're going to turn to him as the guy that's going to be able to help them out over on that side of the ball and be able to play sort of that 3-4 defensive end role. And then outside of that, I wouldn't be surprised if maybe they're, eventually checking in on the trade market mid-August to see if there are some other opportunities or other players that they could potentially go out and get there. But today we saw a lot more Nathan Shepard playing that role, Vernon Broughton playing that role, and John Ridgway III playing that role, with Shepard being the guy that's most experienced already in that responsibility.
Ross Jackson's with us, a Locked On Saints podcast. You can get it YouTube or podcast. Of course, you can read him over at louisianasports.net. The day 2 practice report notes will be up here shortly at louisianasports.net. I guess also notable, Kool-Aid McKinstry, a little bit of an ankle injury. Doesn't sound serious. What can you tell us?
Yeah, that's exactly it. I mean, look, he had really strong play again today in the second day of camp. He has been big time kind of, showcase guy here so far, like one of the players that you point to that's been a standout already. He ended up with a rolled ankle at some point during practice today, and the Saints allowed him to finish the team drills and kind of finish the day over on the sideline. I spoke to a couple of different folks about his injury. Everything that I'm told is that it's minor. I was told no imaging is necessary, but to expect the Saints to play it safe with their top cornerback here and make sure that he's not, rushing or putting himself in a position to worsen what is only a minor injury right now. So, it's always tricky, right? When you talk about a guy who's got an injury and you say that it's minor, but then he ends up being kind of limited the next day or maybe not even participating very much in practice the next day, it kind of makes you go like, oh, okay, so what's really going on? But this is an early indication that the Saints are going to do what it is that they've continuously done and follow the rhythm of caution that they've already kind of set as a precedent for the way that they've been handling these injuries. So even though it's minor, don't be shocked if he's not fully participating in tomorrow's practice.
It's early in camp. It's way more important to have these guys ready to go later. We totally, I think everyone understands and agrees on that. Saw from notes, Jordyn Tyson got in the end zone today. What were the other standouts of day 2?
Yeah, definitely Jordyn Tyson would be one of them. Ended up finding the end zone for the first time in camp, and it was a team drill in the red zone. That's the place where the Saints are really looking for him to have an impact. This year, they were last in the NFL last year in red zone to touchdown percentage. This is a guy that creates immediate separation and is really off the line of scrimmage and is really, really good creating separation out of his break as well, both of which very, very important when it comes to making plays in the red zone. So he'll be a good asset there. That's where he made his big play here today. Quincy Riley, also another standout, the cornerback opposite Kool-Aid McKinstry, going into his second year. He had an interception today on a pass that was a bit of a miscommunication, not on the same page between Tyler Shuck and Jordyn Tyson. Jordyn Tyson cut inside. Tyler Shuck threw the ball outside. And instead of the ball just harmlessly bouncing to the ground, Quincy Riley dove and made a play on it to go ahead and get an interception there. And that was the first interception of camp. And then I'd highlight the pass rush as well. Chase Young, Fadil Diggs, Mike Heldman, who came in, who you've had on your radio show. He was awesome coming out of Chattanooga as an undrafted free agent. Nathan Shepard, Caden Ellis, all these guys getting into the backfield, a lot of them getting what, the way that I would call it would be in position to get sacks, considering they're in a non-contact situation. At one point, Chase Young maybe a little bit overzealous, didn't want to slow down too quickly, but ended up bumping into and knocking down Tyler Shuck at one point, but all in good fun in all of it. Tyler Shuck got back up. He was all good. But the pass rush really put on a show today as well.
Hey, Chase, don't touch number 6. Please don't touch number 6.
He talked about it. Chase talked about it after practice in the media availability. And he was like, yeah, sometimes you just get going and you don't want to stop too fast. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, okay, I guess.
Hey, guy, you're enormous. Don't. You look like He-Man. Don't touch number 6. Give us a heads up of what's ahead.
Yeah, so day 3 tomorrow. Now that Chris Olave's extension is done, you can expect him to get involved in team drills. That was a big motivator here. Of course, they had that hold in over the course of the first 2 days, but make no mistake about it, Chris Olave very involved. Watching from the sideline, was out there for every minute of all of it. Now he gets his opportunity to take the field and be out there again. If Kool-Aid McKinstry is being held back at all in tomorrow's practice, which is certainly what I would expect from what we've heard, that gives you an opportunity to get a little bit of a look at some of the cornerback depth with those veterans back there, and Isaac Adam, as well as Martin Emerson, who's been really impressive so far this camp. So those would be a couple of things to watch out for, as well as the continued exploration of that rotation over on the interior of the defensive line.
He's Ross Jackson, at Ross Jackson NOLA, at Ross Jackson NOLA, if you want to give him a follow. Read him over at LouisianaSports.net. The Chris Olave story is up, and the practice note should be up here momentarily for free over at LouisianaSports.net. You can always listen or watch podcast YouTube, Locked On Saints. Thank you, man. We appreciate it.
Thank you, buddy. Back at you. Appreciate you. Take care. Stay safe. Talk to you soon.
All right. That is Ross Jackson. It's After Further Review. We're glad you're with us. We are here at Marucci Hitter's house. Come on by. We'll be here until 6. And if you're watching, you can see some of the footwear that they have, the cleats, the turf shoes. They got the cross trainers as well. $50 footwear. Y'all, you heard me correct. $50 footwear. Come take advantage of it here at Marucci Hitter's house on Seagan near Airline. The official bat of Major League Baseball. Come on, hang out with us here at Marucci Hitter's house. Okay, we're going to knock out a quick break. Come back. Our conversation with Matt Jones, Kentucky Sports Radio, but also co-host of Matt and Myron, which joins the ESPN Radio national lineup. Don't worry, the conversation is a lot about Will Stein, Joe Sloan, LSU playing at Kentucky this year. We got some Joe Burrow Bengals stuff in there. You'll enjoy the convo. Matt's one of the best. You'll hear it next here on AFR.
AFR.
REV, RevFiber.com. Rev, proud partner of LSU Athletics, and they're about to launch some NIL opportunities for LSU athletes as well, which we're excited to tell you about. RevFiber.com is the website. That's where I want you to start. REV, RevFiber.com, for your home or for your business. Remember, Rev is backed by the security of an all-fiber network. What that means is, we've all been there before, right? Storm comes, knocks around the power lines, tree limb falls on a power line, knocks out power, knocks out internet, and then it's like you're living in Amish country. No. With a fiber network, the fiber is buried under the ground, so you have to worry about a storm knocking you offline. Lightning fast internet speeds up to 5 gigs, the best prices you'll find, and great local customer service. When you call Rev, you were talking to people at a local call center. They've been here for 90 years, 90 years. REV, RevFiber.com, RevFiber.com.
After Further Review with Matt Moscona.
Big change coming to ESPN Radio's national lineup. One of my favorite shows, Matt and Myron. Hear them on Sunday mornings. Now going 3 to 5 Eastern weekdays. That'll be, I don't math very well, but 2 to 4 Central. Matt Jones, the Matt part of Matt and Myron. You know him as also Kentucky Sports Radio. Good enough to join us for a couple of minutes here. Matt, how are you, man?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Doing awesome. Normally when we talk to you, we're talking Wildcats, LSU, something like that. But, man, this is a huge deal for you guys, I guess, to get the call to the weekly, daily ESPN lineup. I've listened to Matt and Myron. I'm always in the car on Sundays, and so I've heard y'all a ton over the years. Why does that dynamic with you two work?
I think it works just because we're actually really good friends. We don't take sports maybe as seriously as other people, and so we give each other our friendship allows us to give each other a hard time. And you're in SEC country. I think it gives a different voice to what the national lineup on ESPN is. There's a lot of influence in New York and L.A., and so Myers from Minneapolis, I'm in Kentucky, and that makes it to where you kind of get a different view. We do a lot of college sports, which is not as prevalent nationally on the ESPN lineup. So I think it's a good change of pace from a lot of the other stuff that you will hear on like national radio shows.
I think when SVP and Russillo did their show on the ESPN lineup, it's maybe the only show that ever had a real heavy college content presence. I think it's the first time that they're going to have a show since, which is awesome. I'm fired up for you guys to have it. Hey, what's your favorite LSU Kentucky memory? Any sport, anytime.
Well, if you think about it, LSU Kentucky's got some crazy.
I know.
We have two basketball games that we prefer. The Miracle, where we were down 31.
The Mardi Gras Miracle.
In the second half and came back and won. We have the game in 96 that we scored 86 points in the first half, which is still probably the best half of basketball I've ever seen. Both those games were in Baton Rouge. Yeah. And then, of course, you guys will remember the Jared Lorenzen game where you all hit the Hail Mary as time expired after they'd already thrown Gatorade on Guy Morris. And then we beat you the year you won the national championship.
I know.
In an overtime game, Bart Scott got, stopped Jacob Hester on the final play. So UK and LSU, for two teams that don't play a whole lot, have produced a pretty insane set of games.
Matt, it's why LSU going up there in Kentucky, and I'll be making the trip, but I tell people, I'm like, that one's always weird, man. Even the 2001 game, LSU, Rowan Davey needed a miracle touchdown pass with less than a minute left to get out of Lexington.
I remember. I'd forgotten that one. Yeah, I'd forgotten that. That was another one that was crazy. For everybody knows UK basketball. UK football has generally not been good. They've had some decent years in the last few years. But the thing about it, and people know this, if you play in Lexington and you get to the second half and it's close, things can get weird.
Yeah.
Georgia, the year they won the national championship a couple years ago, the team that played them the closest was Kentucky.
Yep.
Last year, Kentucky beat Ole Miss with Lane Kiffin. And, weird things can happen in Lexington, especially if the game's at night, which I'm not sure if the LSU one is, but I think it is.
It is. Yeah, it is. I noticed, I was looking at your Twitter earlier today. You did KSR today at Kroger Field. So you were at the stadium. Have you met Will Stein yet?
I have a number of times. I think he's going to be great for what Kentucky needs. I've always believed you have to do. Mark Stoops did really an amazing job here, considering what it was when he got here. But if I'm of the belief that college football is more open to other teams now than ever, as Indiana showed. Mm-hmm. And honestly, even though there's not a salary cap, the fact that people can spend a lot of money, including secondary SEC schools, gives you a chance if you spend it well and you have a good coach. Well, and I think Will Stein can get the money. They've spent it pretty well, and they have a good coach. So I actually think this schedule this year is brutal. Probably the hardest schedule I've ever seen Kentucky have. But I think they are going to be very competitive. And I circle the Alabama game in Lexington, the Florida game in Lexington, and the LSU game in Lexington. I think Kentucky's going to pull one of those off. I'm not sure which one it'll be.
Do you like the 9-game schedule?
I do, because I just want there to be more better games.
Same.
I just think it's as they've expanded the playoff, the punishment for losing isn't as bad for teams like LSU that are always going to be in contention for it. I like it. Nobody wants to see that week before rivalry week where everybody's playing Samford, and it's not worth it. So I do like it.
Matt Jones is with us, Kentucky Sports Radio, but also the host of Matt and Myron, coming to ESPN Radio Monday, right? Monday's the launch?
Yeah, Monday, August 3rd. I'm going to have to shower every day because I'll have a camera on it, which is going to be a new, anybody in radio, showering is like a once every 2-day thing, and now it's going to go to every day. So my water bill is going to go up.
T-Bob Hebert was our morning guy for years before he left for Barstool. Every other day. Even when he showered, the guy didn't clean his feet. So, radio people are gross, I think, is the way you...
T-Bob, by the way, is good, and I don't think it's not... I've never met him, but he kind of reminds me, maybe because of the book setting, of the guy in Confederacy of Dunces. I've always associated him, he's smarter than that guy, but I've always sort of associated him with the guy that they drew on the cover of Confederacy Dunces.
T-Bob just reads a lot, and so he uses big words so people think that he's smart. But so I think actually your description is apropos of T-Bob.
Yeah, I don't know if he'd like it. It's not a very nice description.
He doesn't.
Because I think he actually does a really good job on that TV show. But yeah, that's always been my thought.
Have you met Joe Sloan yet?
I actually have not. I'll meet him Monday. He'll be on my show Monday. Don't know a lot about him. It's interesting that when I've looked sort of at his play calling, it seems like he doesn't have exactly the same style as Stein. So I'm going to be interested to see how that works. I was a little surprised at the hire for that reason. But, Will has told me his belief is you get coaches of different philosophies so you can learn from each other, and I think maybe there's a little bit of that.
Joe deserves a lot of credit for Jaden Daniels' development when he was quarterback coach, but his play call, LSU couldn't run the football. So be interesting to see how Kentucky does with that. Obviously just stylistically different, though. But let me give you a little piece of advice, knowing Joe for a long time. He is a big bourbon guy. So you want to...
Oh, well, then he's good. They had a coaches in bourbon event the other night, and I heard Joe was enjoying himself. So now that makes sense.
I'm just telling you, you want to get in good. You go into your allocated selection. You make a phone call to someone nearby who can get you a rare bottle, gift it to Joe. Boom, you're in like Flint. Easy.
Yes.
Great dude, though.
Can I ask you a question about Lane down there?
Yeah,
okay.
Let's do it.
So I saw Lane at Media Day. And this is actually, I'm sure we're going to talk about this our first week. I find Lane extremely entertaining, and I do like him. But I also find that he's like a woman you date that changes personalities every year or two. like all of a sudden they get into like Pilates one year, and then it's I'm going to do peptides the next year. Do you think that Lane's personality transformation is actually real, or is like next year going to be something different again?
Well, I think some of it is obviously genuine. Giving up alcohol, losing weight, getting in shape.
Yeah.
I think all of that those are clearly life decisions that he's made. I do think he is. And I've only covered him now for 7 months. Right, everything else has just been on the periphery, watching him from afar. I think he is a guy that the persona he puts on social media is very different than who he is in real life. Because I think he is a very introverted. Almost socially awkward. I say that I don't know a better way to say this, Matt. I think he's almost a socially awkward guy, but he's a brilliant football coach. And I mean, here all that matters is you go win games. I mean, you could be Ed Ogeron, you could be Les Miles, you could be Nick Saban. If you win, people are going to love you here. So that really is just the onus is on him to go win football games.
And he's going to have all the pressure in the world, but I think he probably likes that. I think it's a great fit, just in terms of the LSU program infinitely better than I do, but I would say, looking from afar, it feels like it reminds me of when Cal came to Kentucky, in the sense of it was a perfect personality fit at the time. Now that changed over time, and I think guys like Lane, they burn bright and they burn quick. And I think Cal did that here.
Sure.
But when it was rolling, it was a perfect fit, and I kind of just feel like that's how it's going to be for you all, too.
Before you go, Matt Jones is with us at KY Sports Radio. Done an amazing job with Kentucky Athletics forever. But, of course, national radio now. Matt and Myron coming this Monday to ESPN Radio, 2 to 4 Central, 3 to 5 Eastern, Monday through Friday. Before you go, I know right there in Lexington, Kentucky, right there bordering with Cincinnati on the state border. Everyone here obviously are Burrow fans. We have an odd amount of Bengals fans here now because of Burrow. Give us the 60 seconds on Cincinnati this year.
Yeah, I mean, I think the problem they're going to have again is their offensive line. I think they've upgraded it. I think it's the thing that's held Burrow back for a long time, and I don't really know how that gets better for him. I think it'll be a little better. They already lost one of their players on defense. I think you're looking at another team where they're going to be, if Burrow stays healthy, they have a really good shot at the playoffs, but I think you're probably looking at a similar season to the last few. The magical run they went on a couple years ago, I don't see it again. But I love Burrow. I still think next to, if I was building a franchise for the future, he might be the number one pick for me, considering the age of Allen and Mahomes. But it'll all be about the offensive line, and I'm not confident.
He is Matt Jones, Matt and Myron, this Monday, 3 to 5 Eastern, every weekday on ESPN Radio affiliate C to Shining Sea. Thanks, man. Good luck. We appreciate the time.
Hey, thank you. Appreciate it.
Our conversation with Matt Jones of ESPN Radio. We're here at Marucci Hitter's house. We're brought to you by Relief Windows, reliefwindows.com. Actually, the original Relief Windows office is like just down the street from where we are. But now, gorgeous new office, couple of years old, down on Airline Highway in Prairieville. Actually, you cross over Highway, you're going south on Airline, you cross Highway 42. About a quarter mile on the right. You can't miss it. Gorgeous state-of-the-art showroom. Actually, the same designer that did the renovation at LSU Football Ops designed the Relief Windows showroom. So it's always a great option if you want to pop in and talk to one of their associates there. They can do the 3D modeling for you so you can see what the windows, the door, the siding would actually look like if you're a visual person like I am. Super helpful. It's Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, shutters and shades, Relief Windows, and reliefwindows.com with the heat index. Dude, it is, the air temp right now is 98 degrees. What is the heat? What is the feels like right now? Anyway, that's just brutal for your home's energy efficiency. So you want to help? Put in energy efficient windows. I mean, they'll do the thing I tell you about all the time. They'll take a regular glass window and one of their energy efficient windows and put a bulb on top of it and a thermometer underneath, thermostat, so you can see the temperature difference. It's Relief Windows. Make your home more energy efficient. Increase your home's resale value. It's Relief Windows. Windows, door, siding, shutters, and shades. Relief Windows, reliefwindows.com. Okay, y'all, quick break here. We'll come back. Wrap up hour number 2. Muse will have Tigers in the pros. Busy day today. Chris Olave has agreed to a contract extension with the New Orleans Saints. It'll make him the 6th highest paid receiver in the NFL. Sam Spiegelman's here in about 30 minutes from right now. He's got a new prediction about Easton Royal. Adam Rittenberg covers the Big Ten and college football for ESPN. He'll be here in 45 minutes. We got a ton to do. We'll wrap up hour number 2 next here on AFR.
AFR.
Get Gordon and get it done. Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. You've been injured in an accident. It's not your fault. Do what injured people in our state have done for 3 decades. Get Gordon and get it done. Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. So 2 different ways that you can get them. Number 1, you can dial the 8s. Remember the Jell-O shot challenge, the 8,888 Jell-O shots that Gordon bought? Well, it's all about the 8s because that's their phone number. 888-8888, 888-8888. 888-8888. That's anywhere in the state of Louisiana. Just dial 888-8888. You'll get a local office near you. If you've been injured, nobody wants to travel, you want a local attorney that can help. Gordon and his team can do it. They're local in every market in the state of Louisiana. And you can go online to getgordon.com, getgordon.com. Right on the homepage, there's a little chat bubble. If you hit the little chat bubble, you can be texting with an associate immediately within seconds to help you sort of get rolling. So whatever type of accident you may have had, if you've been injured, it's not your fault. You know what to do. Go to getgordon.com, get Gordon, and get it done. Proformla.com, proformla.com. It's Proform Steel. If you need a metal building, Proform Steel are the best. Brandon Golson, he's like literally on the state's licensing board. So ethical dude, does beautiful work. Couple of differentiators when we're talking about Proform Steel. Maybe most importantly is the lead time. They carry a 10-week lead time for commercial and industrial buildings when it typical is 16 to 20 weeks. For residential, it's about like 6 to 8 weeks on residential buildings. So that's from a signed contract to being out the door to you. And by the way, when that metal building is out the door to you, they will deliver it for free. It doesn't matter if it's a shed in your backyard or a giant industrial-sized building. You buy a building from Proform Steel, they will deliver it for free. Get your estimate right now online at proformla.com, proformla.com.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
Wrapping up hour number 2 here from Marucci Hitter's house. Muso. Tigers in the pros.
Tigers in the pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now.
All right, we'll give Grant Taylor big outing for him out of the bullpen late in the extra inning game with the White Sox and Yankees last night. 2 1/3. No earned runs for Taylor. Didn't walk anybody and punched out one. Obviously, the White Sox ended up getting that win in 12 innings and ruined Paul and mine's parlay from our locks yesterday. Alex Bregman picked up another hit. It was another double, his 19th double of the season. He now has 8 hits in his last 3 games to go along with 4 doubles in his last 3 games. He is in fuego for the Chicago Cubs. Minor League Baseball, Trey Morgan, Durham Bulls doubleheader on Wednesday. Morgan turned in 4 hits and 7 at-bats in the doubleheader, scored a run and drove in a run as well. He's finally healthy and starting to swing the sticks a little bit better here as well. Michael Braswell III. So Braswell has made his debut in single-A ball as a pitcher. Royals organization, Columbia Fireflies. The debut was last night, inning and 2/3. Gave up a couple of runs, 1 walk, 1 strikeout. He appeared in 18 games in rookie ball before getting the call up. Fastball was up to 95 last night for Braswell. Sat 94-95 for the majority of the game. Look forward to more from him. And then Angel Reese with the Atlanta Dream, 22-12 a night ago for Reese. 50% from the floor, dished out 4 assists. Had 4 steals as well. Her 15.6 points per game is a career high thus far in her career and the season. That is Tigers in the Pros.
We are brought to you by our friends over at Evermore. Look, it's 100 degrees outside. Make sure you stay hydrated. EVAMOR. Evermore.com. Evermore.com. Available at great local retailers. You can find the retailer nearest you or buy online at Evermore.com. They got the 20, the 32, and the 64-ounce bottles. I like to buy the 4 packs of 64-ounce bottles, and I'll drink 2 of them a day. Find Evermore at great local retailers. You can go to the website, hit the Find a Store tab, punch in your zip code, and it'll tell you the store nearest you, or you can buy online at Evermore.com. EVAMOR, Evermore.com. It's interesting. Like, I know overwhelmingly you are not going to agree with me about the Chris Olave deal. And so it's interesting to look at the text line and my Twitter and all, because like, I don't know any other way to say it. Like, but when I say Olave shouldn't be paid like the 6th best receiver in the NFL, I'm not saying he's not a good player. I'm just saying I don't think he's the 6th best receiver in the NFL. And those two things can be true. Like, you can defend Chris Olave and think he's a really good player. I've watched him shrink in big moments. I've watched him drop contested balls. Like, he was a volume stat stuffer this year on a team that had no other options, and I think his productivity this year is going to plummet as a result of all the other options Tyler Shuck is going to have. I think he's a good player. He's not the 6th best receiver in the NFL. Hour 3 next.
AFR.
Our Lady of the Lake Championship Health partner of LSU Athletics, fmolhealth.org/LSU. That's where you can go to learn more about the Championship Health partnership. And man, we will be able to talk to them. I'm really excited about this. We're starting to put the finishing touches on an interview series with a lot of the LSU football players that are Our Lady of the Lake NIL athletes. So 23 NIL deals with LSU football players, which is awesome, and fired up for all those guys for the opportunity. But it's such a pleasure to be able to talk about Our Lady of the Lake every single day, because they are expanding healthcare in our community, and they are doing amazing things and get to highlight a lot of that. Like, they just had the ribbon cutting on the new Our Lady of the Lake Cancer Center, which is state-of-the-art and incredible. Of course, there's the Children's Hospital. I mean, we take Drew there. There's specialists. He sees, a GI doc there. Sees his neurologist, Dr. Shaw, there. My personal physician is Dr. Curtis Chastain at the Our Lady of the Lake Men's Health Group. You want the best? I trust the Lake, and you should as well.